Hello and welcome again to Casual Magic. Let's talk Magic 2019 core set pre-release. There are lots of ways to play. Generally speaking, when you're building a pre-release deck, you have 15 to 18 creatures, 5 to 8 other spells, and 17 lands. Alright, well, let's start off and see what kind of cards I could get. Alright, well, my pre-release card here is Open the Grave, so whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Alright, cool, it's got some use. Let's see how black is going. I've got Duress, Vampire Neonate, which I can ping a life and gain a life, Graveyard Marshal, so I can exile a creature card from my graveyard and get a 2/2 zombie. Generic 2/2. When this 1/1 dies, make a 2/2 zombie creature token. A couple pump spells for this whenever this creature dies, return to the battlefield. Somewhat useful. Child of Night, got lifelink. Pair of Hired Blades that I can flash in. Strangling Spores to give something -3/3. Lich's Crest to destroy a target creature and gain 3 life, but it costs a lot. And Vampire Sovereign, whenever it's battlefield, target opponent loses 3 and I gain 3. So not exactly the best as far as the creatures go. I mean, it's got some low-cost creatures, but yeah, not so much. How about blue? Let's try blue. Okay, so I got Gearsmith Prodigy. All right, if I can control an artifact. Supreme Phantom. Oh, flying. Other spirits you control get +1/+1. That's cool. How many other spirits do I have? Is that a spirit? That's a spell. Spell. Bird Wizard. Draw some cards, some tiny removal, a Drake, totally lost, Frilled Sea Serpent. So how many other spirits do I have? 0. So that's completely useless. Let's try red. How about red? Okay, Goblin Motivator can give something haste. I've got a Lightning Strike, always useful. Goblin Instigator, able to get out 2 1/1s, cool. Gutter Snipe, whenever I cast an instant sorcery, deals 2 damage to each opponent. Boggart Brute with Menace, alright, cool. Trumpet Blast, Pump Spell. Electrify for some damage, Lava Axe for some damage, and then huge costing Fire Elemental, Volcanic Dragon, and Lathliss, Dragon Queen. So whenever a non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. Dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So, cool. But how many creatures do I have in that 1 to 2 mana slot? Let's see, I've got 1, 2, and that's it. And then it starts off with 3. So that was looking okay for 2. So in the end, I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, how about some of my other stuff? I've got some multicolored creatures here. I've got an Ogre with Menace and then Draconic Disciple, so I can ramp up into a dragon. But again, it's not necessarily helping that much. All right, well, how about artifacts? Let's go with artifacts. Engineer Explosive Apparatus. I can do 2 damage to any target, but I have to spend 4 mana to do it, so cut it. Rogue's Gloves. All right, cool. I can draw a card when I deal combat damage with it. Gargoyle Sentinel, just to get a defender out, but if it's 3, I want to be able to attack with it regularly. Arcane Encyclopedia, draw a card, and get a 1/1 flyer. And then, gee, mana much? All right, Manaless, which I don't really want if I'm playing 2 colors. Okay, so pretty much I'm probably going green-white. Well, do I have help with land? Okay, Reliquary Tower, cool, but not necessarily an issue in this deck because I'm probably never going to have more than 7 cards. And I'm not playing blue, I'm not playing blue, and I'm not playing blue. So those are pointless. How about some spells that I had to cut? Root Snare. Prevent all combat damage to be dealt this turn. Reclamation Stage to destroy an artifact or enchantment when it comes in. Ghirapur Guide. Target creature you control can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. Interesting. Rock's Oracle. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Oh, okay. So if I have creatures I control, or target creature I control can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. Okay. Well, that's something interesting. I could throw that in, but we'll see. So I've got Revitalize, which is kind of a trap card, which you don't want to play it because you just gain 3 life and draw a card, and it's not really that great. Aegis of the Heavens, it's really good with the dragon, where your defenders deal damage based on their toughness. So you can say, oh, I'm attacking with the 0/7 wall, and then quick pump it and do 14 damage. Trusty Pack Beast, when enters battlefield, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, but I'm probably not playing with any artifacts, so that's pointless. Aether Shield Artificer, beginning your combat target artifact creature. Yep, not playing with an artifact creature. Knightly Valor, cool, but it's costing 5, so cut it at the last minute. Knight of the Tusk, 3/7 Vigilance. Neat, but it's 6, and no, that's okay. So, what am I playing with? Green and white. I've got my 9 plains. I've got my 8 forests. Great. Meantime, pushing this out of the way because you guys didn't help me at all. All right, so there's my lands. Going through this, for my mana curve, I've got a Johnny's Welcome, so when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And Lean In Vanguard at the beginning of your combat on your turn. If you control 3 or more creatures, Lean In Vanguard gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and you gain 1 life. So basically, as long as you have a decent board state, every turn you're going to gain 1 life. You don't even have to attack with it. Going into 2 mana cost, I've got Rabid Bite, so I can ping another creature based on a creature's power. Titanic Growth is a pump spell. Take Vengeance to destroy target tapped creature. Are you noticing a problem here? Here's my bottom 6 cards. I have 1 creature in it. The rest are spells. Where are the creatures at, you say? Well, let's see. I've got Loxodon Linebreaker and another Loxodon Linebreaker. A 2/2 Death Touch. Saturn Enchanter, so whenever I cast an enchantment card, or whenever I cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. All right, that's somewhat useful. Pegasus Courser, huge bomb in this because whenever it attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. So at least I can get a couple flyers out of it. Mentor of the Meek, whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Well, that's almost all of my creatures. Invoke the Divine to destroy a target artifact or enchantment, gain 4 life. Luminous Bonds to lock down a creature so it can't attack or block. And Colossal Majesty, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. So get a lot of extra card draw. Moving on in the 4 mana spot, Dwarven Priest. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. Pair of those. And Bristling Boar. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. It's a 4/3. Pair of those. Moving into the high cost ones, Herald of Faith. So it's 5 for a 4/3 with flying, and whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. So again, a little bit more life, but at least it's a flyer. Colossal Dreadmaw. Classic card at this point. It's probably going to be every core set from here until the end of time. And Lena's Selfless Champion is one of my rares. So when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier token for each non-creature you can, if I can say that right. Let's just start over. When Lena's Selfless Champions enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. There, reading the card explains the card. Sacrifice Lena. Creatures you control with power less than Lena's power gain indestructible until end of turn. So it's got some use, especially if I can somehow build up a board state, then that comes out, and I get a ton of 1/1s. So what's my last bomb that I have? A Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants. So I can plus it to get a +1/+1 counter on each up to 2 target creatures. I can minus it to target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This, great. I can use his minus ability on 1 creature. Wow, that's great. And then -7, you get an emblem at the beginning of your end step, create 3 1/1 cat creature tokens with lifelink. So the way it went down was, my very first game, I went up against a basically red aggro deck that had just tons of pump spells. It's getting out creatures early, pumping them, swinging through for damage. Really nothing I could do. The second guy, he was doing some sort of I think, blue an artifact deck, and I pretty much had him under control where I could either lock down his creatures or pick off a flyer. And once I got out Pegasus Courser with, I think, Colossal Dreadmaw, then I just started swinging through in the air and took him out, no problem. And did that 2-0. So that was good. And then the third person, very charming woman. It really just came down to, she was mana screwed the first game, I was mana screwed the second game, and then the third game, I just basically lucked out. I got a Johnny out and started pumping my creatures, and that was just enough to kind of get ahead, and then started swinging through with a flyer that was getting bigger each turn. Then finally, went up against a guy who had a similar white and green deck, except his was basically Knight Tribal. So about half of his creatures were knights. They all had anthem effects, so they were +1/+1. Almost everything had vigilance. So my Take Vengeance cards were basically useless against him because they never tapped. So what's the point of having removal for tap creatures if they don't tap? And at that point, it's pretty much done. I just tried to do what I could. And then the funny thing was, in the second game, I had Colossal Majesty out, and basically we're building up giant board states and building up giant board states. And then after a while, I noticed, oh, hey, I've got 7 cards left in my deck. Now I've got 5. I'm attacking. Now I've got 3. I'm attacking. I've gotten you down to 11. Things are happening. I had tons of life gain. He swung through. I think he got me down to like 23. And then finally in the end, I had to draw 2. I had 1 card. I milled myself and game over. So in the very last game, I killed myself with this card. So, well, it was interesting. I went 2-2 for the day, and the cool pack thing, which I'm using as the little kind of intro wallpaper. It was funny, where if you got at least 2 wins, then you could get 2 packs. So I have my 2 packs here. Overall, I'm kind of indifferent about this. I mean, I do like the Ajani, but everything else here, not really that excited about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up these now. Let's see. I'll just flip Ajani. Let's just flip Ajani. If it's Ajani up, then this, and if it's not, then that. Let's see if I can hit target Ajani. That's off camera. I want it on camera for dramatic purposes. Oh, Ajani up, all right? Because remember, when deciding which pack you want to open, flip an Ajani. Oh my god, these are worse than the Magic 25 sets. All right. There we go. Let's see. Another Reliquary Tower. All right. It feels... Yeah. Pyromancer's Cage. Oh, that would have been so useful during the game. Hey, Thorn Lieutenant, another elf. Awesome. When Thorn Lieutenant becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. And then 5 in green, Thorn Lieutenant gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Fun. Fun. That's a cool one that's going to go in an elf deck. And another Thopter. All right. Sarkhan. Let's see what sort of fun you can provide me. It's probably going to be the spirit thing. Other spirits get +1/+1. I've got a feeling. Skilled Animator. Recollect. Oh, that would have been useful too. Oh, Volcanic Dragon. All right, I'm going to use another one. And cool! It's not necessarily the best card because it affects you as well, but this is a good card, especially in something like EDH, that just forces something to happen. Because so many times in EDH, you just kind of sit there, you stall out, you can't do anything. You know, if you attack, it's not going to do much or something. This is something that's not exactly a board wipe, but it just forces a lot of decisions to be made right now, and something happens. So I'm actually looking forward to this as an EDH card. So, Fraying Omnipotence, 3 and 2 black sorcery. Each player loses half of their life, then discards half the cards in their hand, then sacrifices half the creatures they control. Round up each time. So, that's fun. That's fun. I am looking forward to using that. In a mountain and a dragon, a 5/5 dragon. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, that was my pre-release. I am okay with it. It's not the most amazing thing, but hey, it's pre-release. You basically get what you get, and that's the end of it. I am happy that I got a Johnny, though. That's probably the best part. So I hope you did better in your pre-release. I hope you're able to go to 1 or more this time around, because overall Magic 19 does seem like a very fun set to draft, but I don't know necessarily if it's a fun set for pre-release. If you can't get anything in your 1 or 2 mana curve, then you're kind of screwed. So that's it for now, and until next time, good luck.